Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. June 18th, 2020, TPA Governing Board meeting, and if you would be so kind, I'm going to have to read from my directions. Pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order number 20-69 and TPA Emergency Order number 2020-02, the Palm Beach TPA is conducting this meeting virtually using the Zoom webinar platform. The TPA selected this platform because it does not require the public to purchase or download any additional software or equipment to attend this meeting. Aside from the Zoom webinar platform, that the participants will use to attend remotely, the public will have no discernible difference in their ability to watch the meeting from that of someone physically attending the meeting. Instructions to join this virtual meeting, as well as contact information for a TPA staff member to assist you, are provided in the published meeting agenda. Please note that although some members of the governing board are attending the meeting in person, TPA board members will be appearing at today's meeting remotely, either via webcam or telephone. Additionally, scheduled presenters and the executive director will also be appearing via Zoom, webcam, or telephone. Before we begin, I will summarize our public comment procedures for this virtual meeting. Written documents, comments, and questions may be submitted online at the website provided in the agenda. Verbal comments can also be made live through the Zoom webinar platform. When you wish to be recognized, please use the raise hand function within the Zoom platform and then wait to be recognized by the chair and unmuted by the meeting host. Lastly, an in-person visitor may submit a comment card available at the welcome table. And Steve Wilson, are you online?
Yes.
Okay, would you please open our meeting in prayer and then lead us in the pledge?
All right. Let us pray, please. Oh, Heavenly Father, we are here once again with bowed heads and humble hearts, thanking you for your grace and your mercy. Realizing, Father, over and over again, you've been better to us than we've been to ourselves. And with that, we say thank you. Thank you, Father, for allowing us to use every circumstance, even our failures, for your glory and honor. Help us, Father, to truly see that you are bigger than any problem that we may be facing today, as well as the days to come. Continue to show us, Father, your sweet spirit and not the spirit of this world. And finally, Father, we ask you to be a blessing to the chairperson of this meeting and all of us whom you have allowed to be assembled here today, realizing that we're no strangers to each other, just perhaps friends we have not yet met. We give you all the praises and the glory. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mayor Wilson. Okay, Margie, would you please call the roll?
Joseph Anderson is excused. Mary Berger. And I just want to check, sometimes she does call in and I didn't check that beforehand. See if she's in the attendee list, I'm sorry. I will come back to her. Joni Brinkman.
Here.
Joelle Flores.
Present.
Stephen Graham.
Present.
Jim Koretsky.
Present.
Shirley Lanier. Maria Marino.
Here.
McKinley.
Here.
Michael Nacleon.
I'm here.
Corey Nearing.
Here.
Joseph Peduzzi.
Here.
Shelley Petrolia. I'm sorry, I just want to double check in the attendees list. I'm not seeing her, but again, I will go back and check the phone numbers that are listed. Fred Pinto.
Here.
Scott Singer,
Actually, I just got a text from him that he is on the line, but he cannot find an invite to join as a participant.
I'm sorry, who was that for?
Mayor Singer.
Mayor Singer?
He is on, he can hear us.
Okay, we'll have a staff member promote him to a panelist so he can be on the record. Andy Thompson,
Happy to be here virtually.
Cam Chiolo,
Here.
Hal Valashe,
Here.
Robert Weinrock,
Here.
Greg Weiss,
Here.
Steve Wilson.
Here,
We have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Much. Okay, comments from the chair and member comments. We have a 10 o'clock meeting, so I think we'll keep our comments brief. Are there any board members that would like to be recognized to say something? If so, please raise your hand and you will be recognized. Don't see any hand raising.
And Madam Chair, just for the record, I did add Scott Singer as a panelist. And Mayor, if you are calling in on your cell phone, you can mute it on that end, and I'll leave you unmuted here.
I'm here. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I do have Commissioner McKinley has her hand raised.
Okay. Commissioner McKinley.
Yes, good morning. Thank you from rainy Wellington. I just want to thank my legislative affairs staff publicly. We've been working on farm to market road language in several of Congress's bills dealing with infrastructure. And we were able to get an amendment added to the Surface Transportation Act reauthorization bill into the draft form, and so far it hasn't received any objections. That would allow, my office created a definition of what a farm to market road is, and it would allow local governments who have those types of roads in their jurisdiction to be eligible to apply directly for STA funding. So it's something we'll get the language to the rest of the board, and we would ask that you also join us in reaching out to our members of our congressional delegation and any other contacts you may have in Congress to support that language. It would definitely help our Glades communities. So thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Anyone else have their hand raised? Sorry, when you see me turn, it's because the screens are over here and over here for us to look at.
I do not see any other hands raised, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Thank you all. We'll go on to our next item, which is the Executive Director's Report.
Well, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the TPA Governing Board. Thanks to those of you who are here in person, and welcome to those of you who are attending this meeting virtually. It's good to see you on our screens. I have just a handful of items to report. First, I wanted to congratulate Boynton Beach. The city of Boynton Beach just earlier this week adopted a complete streets and mobility policy with the goal of enhancing the city's multimodal transportation network and enabling safe and comfortable access and mobility for users of all ages, abilities, income levels, and transportation modes. I think that was a fantastic initiative, and we do encourage all of our local governments to support similar initiatives, policies in their local comprehensive plans to accommodate all of the users of our transportation system, similar to the mission and vision of the TPA. I wanted to make all of our governing board members aware one of our strategic plan action items is to provide opportunities for you to get exposure to other areas of the country, ways that we are funding transportation and making projects happen. We do that through the attendance of national conferences, and right now many of those conferences are virtual, which means that our adopted travel budget will accommodate many, many more of you participating in any of those activities. If you see anything on our conference webpage that you would like to attend, please let me know and we will make those arrangements for you. Again, our strategic plan is a document that we've created locally to direct our efforts and focus our attention on specific actions that will make our agency as effective as possible. And I wanted to remind the TPA governing board that if you volunteered to serve or you were voluntold to serve on the TPA's Strategic Plan Advisory Committee, the committee will be meeting on Monday morning. That will be a Zoom meeting, Monday morning, June 22nd at 9 a.m. And if you are not a member of that committee, but you'd like to watch that meeting, it will be available to participate virtually. Details are again on our website at palmbeachtpa.org/meeting. For the last two, I'm going to have Alyssa click forward one slide and wanted to highlight, we've been conducting a TPA, basically a COVID-19 travel survey, asking you how has the restrictions associated with the virus affected your travel patterns today, and how likely are those changes that you have seen yourself make and members of your community make, how likely are those changes to stick? And it should come as no surprise that a lot more people are walking in their local communities, a lot more people are biking in their local communities, a lot more folks in our county are telecommuting. In fact, 60% of our respondents said they're telecommuting either more or a lot more. And then we're also placing a different kind of stress on our transportation network by ordering a lot more goods and services. And also it should come as no surprise that 76% of our respondents said they are driving less, although we have seen recent trends in traffic counts suggest that those less driving patterns are reducing. We're getting back to what we've seen as historical levels of traffic counts on our major roadways. But 76% of respondents said they're driving less, and 31% of our respondents said they're riding transit less, which will be a challenge that we will have to seek to proactively address as we consider whether to make additional investments in our mass transit system here in Palm Beach County. And then I just wanted to mention, one of the questions we asked is, okay, those are the changes. Are you likely to continue those changes? Have you found that you like the way that you're being asked to travel right now? And most of our respondents said, yes, indeed, we like the opportunity to work from home, to walk more, to bike more, which means that, especially at the local level within our communities, we have an obligation and an opportunity to address missing pieces of pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure to make a safe environment for those people who choose to do just that. And then the last item I wanted to mention is another one of our strategic plan initiatives. It is to create a pilot web page, a landing page that will allow residents, visitors, employees that work within Palm Beach County to submit transportation-related comments and suggestions. And so we've done just that. We're using the Esri platform, that's a GIS platform, and we have created a countywide map that allows for anyone to come to our website at palmbeachtpa.org/comment-map. And then they can click on a site and go to that bottom right corner and say, I would like to submit a comment. They would be asked what kind of comment it is, and then they're given an opportunity to provide input on what they're seeing in the built environment and what they think would be nice to see in addition to what's already there, or maybe identify concerns or problems that we can work to address through the TPA's grant programs or through the routine maintenance of our transportation facilities. And then you also have the opportunity to review previously submitted comments, anything that someone in your community, you can find yourself liking what they've said and adding fuel to the fire, if you will, adding support for suggested modifications to our transportation system. And again, this was one of our strategic plan initiatives, and we wanted to make you aware that this site is now live, and many people are taking advantage of it in the central and southern parts of the county. We are hoping that our northern representatives will encourage their local members, local citizens, constituents to take advantage of this feature on our website as well. And Madam Chair, that's all I have for this morning.
Well, that's a great addition, so I hope people will comment. Thank you.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, just for the record, we do have Mayor Shelley Petrolia and Commissioner Mary Lou Berger in the meeting now, and I don't have any public comments on this item, but I do have that Commissioner Weiss has his hand raised.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Commissioner Weiss, go ahead.
Thank you. Excellent report. I'm just curious, how many unique respondents were there in the travel survey?
Sure, there are just 170 or so, and
okay.
It wasn't a statistically significant survey that we were trying to conduct. It was more of a thought-provoking exercise. We were trying to ask people yeah, what do you think? How have you changed and how likely are those changes to stick? But again, not statistics, just get you to think about whether you like the changes that have occurred in your travel patterns.
All right, thank you.
Gretzky?
Just an observation, and I don't get much opportunity to use transit since it's really not in North County. But just of those items that I really enjoy and appreciate staff doing these kind of pulse surveys, if you will. It is informative, but what strikes me as an observation is transit is the only one of those that are questioned about that there actually was, I thought, prohibitions on using it. Were there not for a period of time where you couldn't use the transit? So that may be a factor that somehow has to be undone, if you will. People may not have gotten word you can come back on it again. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that's a great observation.
Thank you. Commissioner Weinrock?
Thank you. I just wanted to commend the city of Boynton Beach. It's particularly timely that you've adopted complete streets at a point in time when people are reintroducing themselves to the ability to get around without motor vehicles. I know around my neighborhood, I've met a lot of my neighbors that I didn't even know lived in my neighborhood. We're out walking. People are enjoying the ability to get around with either bicycles or by foot. And I think this is going to challenge us as planners going forward. I think especially in our urban areas, I think that we really need to be looking at this as an opportunity to see how we can nurture this this need for people to get out and about and get out of their cars. So I think we have a real opportunity here. As far as public transportation, we certainly do have a challenge. We're going to have a challenge with people, at least until we have a vaccine available for them to go into confined spaces. Certainly right now in our county, we are promoting the use of our public transit with social distancing. We are not going to be charging fares on Palm-Tran at least through the end of June. I'm not sure if it's going to go through July. No decision's been made yet. But I think that we certainly are going to be challenged. I think just like autonomous vehicles, this is going to change the dynamic of transportation going forward. I don't think it's going to stop just because people are going to not be worried about COVID-19 at some point in the future. So I think that this is an opportunity. Again, I commend the city of Boynton Beach for being so forward thinking, and I challenge our other municipalities to look at this as an opportunity to invest in the walkable environment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Vanishing?
Thank you. I just wanted to add that Tri-Rail has also decided to waive fares for the duration. And just to let you know, Tri-Rail was also the recipient of $103 million in CARES Act funding, which came at a great time. I think everybody knows that we are financially challenged at Tri-Rail. So, you know, and the restrictions are what we got in the county had to be spent on COVID related items. At Tri-Rail, it's very difficult to say what's COVID related. So it's usable on just about anything that we need to use it on, upgrading stations, maintaining track, etc. So was something that was unanticipated, but very welcome.
Thank you.
And I have Commissioner McKinley has her hand raised.
Commissioner McKinley?
Thank you. I just have a question for Nick. Nick, I had been given some information that I shared with your team about the possibility of areas of the county that aren't seeing those traffic counts go back up and they're still low, about possibly repurposing some lanes for bike or pedestrian traffic. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that and if you think that there are areas in the county where that might be possible.
I think it's a great suggestion, and I think we would be happy to work with the roadway owners. Yeah, the TPA can facilitate and help with maintenance of traffic plans and implementation sort of planning and scheduling for projects like that, but we don't own the roadways that many of our community members are traveling on, so we could work with the roadway owners, the county or the local cities, even in some cases the state, on potential places like that. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to investigate that, and we'd be happy to help.
Thank you.
And I'd love to see you do something like that. Thanks, Nick.
Here we go with the conversation between impact fees and mobility fees, but I will just leave it at that. All right, so I have no more comments, and I do not believe we have any general comment cards, right? I mean, public comment cards.
No, Madam Chair, no general public comments.
So at this time, we will move into our action item, which is a motion to adopt the resolution approving the fiscal year 21-25. And I would like Jason Price to do a presentation.
So moved.
Morning, everyone. My name is Jason Price. I'll be presenting to you this important document, the Transportation Improvement Program for fiscal year 21 through 25. So this is the final draft of the TIP document, and this is an action item requiring a vote to adopt. This particular TIP covers a 5-year period from 2021 to 2025, and it lists all of the projects programmed in the FDOT work program, as well as regional and local projects. So to begin with the timeline of how the TIP is developed, the development of the TIP begins with the approval of the TPA priority list in July 2019. Next, the FDOT evaluates the available funding and drafts a tentative work program that includes our priority list. The draft tentative work program is then used by the TPA to draft the draft and the final TIP that's before you today. The final draft, once adopted, will be the new TIP that the TPA begins to operate under in the following months. Here's a breakdown of the total funding in the TIP by project section, as well as a breakdown of the funding within the TIP by federal and state and local sources. Can you go back one slide?
Jason, you do have the clicker.
I did not touch it. Okay, here we go. Cool. As you can see, the SIS capacity is by far the largest, with 38 projects. And those projects include the Beeline Highway from North Lake Boulevard to Blue Heron Boulevard, as well as Florida Turnpike and right-of-way and construction costs. There's also large I-95 interchange projects. The second two largest, as you can see, is roadway and transit operation and maintenance. Now we'll go over the three primary programs that's in the TIP for the TPA. The first one is the major TPA projects. This has a 5-year target of $114 million in federal and state funds, and this current TIP has programmed $156 million in federal and state funds. So it is exceeding our target. Some significant changes in this TIP is the State Route 7 Okeechobee Boulevard to North Lake Boulevard project scheduled for construction in fiscal year 2022. There's also the Tri-Rail extension to Jupiter with the PD&E delayed from fiscal year 21 to 22. Lastly, there's the Atlantic Avenue from State Route 7 to Lyons Road, with the construction being delayed from fiscal year 2022 to 2023. One of the highlights for construction in fiscal year 2021 is the FEC railroad crossings from West Palm Beach to Martin County line. I'll now review the local initiatives grant program administered by the TPA. This has a 5-year target of million in federal and state funds, and there's a $100 million program in this current TIP. One of the highlights of the local initiatives program is that all 6 new projects are funded for construction in fiscal year 24 and 25. These are 6 new projects that were applied for in the grant cycle last year and are now programmed in this current TIP. For fiscal year 21, there's several construction projects that are listed, that are programmed to be constructed. They are Homewood Boulevard and Delray Beach, Northeast Fifth Avenue in Boca Raton, Big Blue Trace in Wellington, US 1 and West Palm Beach, as well as Australian Avenue in Riviera Beach, George Bush Boulevard in Delray Beach, Grant Bridge over C-15 Canal, also in Delray Beach, and various mid-block crossings in Indian Trail Improvement District. The next is the Transportation Alternative Program, which is also a grant program administered by the TPA. This has a 3-year target of $9 million in federal and state funds, and there are $15 million programmed in this current TIP. Some of the highlights of the Transportation Alternative Program is all 4 new projects are funded for construction in fiscal year 2023. And again, these are 4 new projects that were awarded last year in the grant cycle. There's also 6 projects scheduled for construction in fiscal year 22 from previous grant cycles. What will be constructed in fiscal year 21 as highlights are Belvedere Heights neighborhood sidewalk and lighting, as well as FPNL pathway lighting from Lampstead Lane to Las Palmas Street. What you see before you here is a list of all of the other construction highlights in fiscal year 2021 that are not listed in the priority list but are important projects to review. There are several roadway resurfacing projects, roadway capacity projects, bridge projects, as well as several interchange improvement projects. I won't read through the list, but they are in your packet. Next is resurfacing projects to look out for in future years that the TPA would like to track and and look for opportunities to include both safety and complete streets projects to incorporate it into these projects wherever feasible. A difference between the draft tip that you saw last month and the final tip before you today is the updated construction maps for the fiscal years of 21 through 25. Each one of these maps lists all of the construction projects for each of those years and can be searched for by the FM number or the project ID number in those maps. Next is a new addition to this final draft tip is fiscal analysis. This is an appendix item that has 3 components to it that I'll go over. The first is the State Comprehensive Enhanced Transportation System Tax, also known as District Dedicated Revenue, listed in our TIP. This is a state gas tax collected in Palm Beach County that is supposed to be spent in Palm Beach County. And as you can see from the totals to the far right, Palm Beach County is utilizing about approximately 90% of the funds collected and spent in our county. There's 2 other components to fiscal analysis. The second one is I-95 Express Lane revenue in Palm Beach County. Now this is planned to open in late 2023, and when the Express Lane revenue begins, through Florida statute, there's a number of things that this revenue can be spent on. The first is to pay back bonds. However, the construction of these lanes as indicated by MDOT, is not paid for by a bond, so there'll be no bond to pay back. So these funds could be spent on operation, maintenance, and improvement of the facility, followed by paying for construction and maintenance or improvement on state highways where the revenue is collected. And lastly, to support express bus service on the facility. The last component of fiscal analysis is multi-use corridors of regional economic significance, also known as MCORs. This is 3 corridors out on the west coast of Florida that are being studied by FDOT currently. And the TPA is tracking these projects for potential impacts to statewide funding sources and subsequent impacts, potential impacts to projects in our area. That concludes my presentation. I can take any questions at this time.
Thank you very much, Jason. I know you're the data guy. And by the way, these maps are fabulous. So thank you for your presentation. And before I take any comments here, do we have, what I see is 1 comment card. Do we have any additional cards?
I'll give it. I didn't receive any in person, and I'm not seeing any hand raised for the general public comments on that one.
Okay, so I will read into the record that we have a comment from the City of West Palm, the Edward Della Parte. The City of West Palm opposes the inclusion of State Road 7 project in the fiscal year 21-25 transportation improvement program. The city has prepared a presentation in support of its request. I know that presentation has been emailed to everybody, correct?
Correct, to all the board members.
Okay, thank you. That's it. So I will take questions at this time. So Margie, help me with that. And is that Mary Lou, do you have a question?
I'm not sure if we're just getting feedback from her or from Sharon. Commissioner Berger, did you have a question?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No, I don't have any questions, and I apologize for the trouble we've had.
Okay, actually, let me do this. I need a motion to adopt the resolution, and then I'll open the floor to discussion.
So moved.
Okay,
I'll take a motion by Valashane, second by Weinberg.
perfect. Okay, so and now I will open the floor for discussion.
And I do have a hand raised as well. I don't know if you want to do in person first and then online. It's up to you.
We'll have Mr. Kretzky go first, and then we'll take.
I have Baduzzi and White.
Thank you.
Just a comment, I think is appropriate to say, and first of all, I appreciate the staff efforts, wonderful summary presentation. And what I'm about to say is not a criticism, and I understand, I don't believe the delay of Tri-Rail is a significant change. I say this from a perspective of, if you're in Newark County, about a decade ago, we were all moving forward, and you eventually get to the point you recognize it's a financial issue, and you really can't do much more, and you almost don't. And I know that there's a lot of things, maybe breakthroughs could happen and whatever, but I just wanted to point out, not as a criticism, but it's really not, I wouldn't call that a significant change to us. We all know, it says right in there, this is huge funding gap, right? So until that's gonna get resolved, this is part of the move next year, the year after, whatever. So I just wanted to point that out, not as a criticism, but just as a representative for Newark County.
Thank you. Commissioner Peduzzi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's probably no surprise to my colleagues that I am not supporting the fiscal year 21 through 25 transportation excuse me, improvement plan due to the inclusion of State Road 7 project. Although I'm tempted to talk about the fragility of our grassy waters preserve, I will refrain from doing so, as our attorney Ed Della Parte has done a better job than I ever could outlining our objections. Before the motion was made, I was going to ask the chair if I would be able to have the floor to make a motion to remove the State Road 7 project from the 21 through 25 transportation improvement plan. I'm not so sure under Robert's Rules of Order, since there is a motion and a second now, how that can take place. But I would, Madam Chair, if you would allow it, like to make a motion to remove that State Road 7 project from the plan.
So you're making a motion, a substitute motion then?
Yes, if you'd allow it as a substitute motion, and I can make the formal motion, Madam Chair.
Paul, I'll ask you to weigh in on this, please. Please unmute your microphone. Margie, can you unmute his microphone?
There we go. I got it. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if it's a substitute motion or actually an amendment to the actual motion to adopt. He's proposing to remove two projects that are in the draft TIF, and it's certainly germane.
So we would take that motion first then?
Yes, you take his motion first. Yes.
Could we have a reading of what the motion will be, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move to remove the State Road 7 project from the fiscal year 21 through 25 Transportation Improvement Plan, consistent with the objections outlined by Mr. Delapart on behalf of the City of West Palm Beach.
Do we have a second? There's no
This is
second.
Corey. Second, Corey.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any?
Just for clarification, is this an amendment or a substitute motion?
It is an amendment. Then Paul, didn't you say this was an amendment?
I think it is. Yes.
Our attorney says it's an amendment. Okay, so I think we know what the discussion is going to be. Would it be okay if we skip right to taking a vote on this, please? Is that okay, Paul?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, and I'm guessing this has to be a roll call vote?
Yes, Madam Chair, and I will have one of my staff members unmute all. And if you mute it on your end, it will notify you that you need to unmute.
So just to clarify, Paul, this is a motion to approve the TIP minus the two State Road 7 projects.
No, actually, it's an amendment. So you're voting on the amendment, which is to remove the State Road 7 projects. And then depending upon what happens with that amendment, then you'll come back and you'll do the formal motion to approve the TIP.
Thank you. All right, I should probably open the floor to discussion. Is there any discussion? Two hands up. Pam Trillo.
Yes.
Actually, this wasn't in reference to the current motion on the floor, so I'll put my hand down.
Okay, thank you. Greg Weiss.
It's not about the current motion.
Okay, thank you. Then we will do a roll call for this motion.
Madam Chair, if I may, just so that we can make sure everyone is on the same page. The motion on the floor is to remove the State Road 7 projects, two State Road 7 projects from the fiscal year 21 through 25 TIP. A yes vote means yes, remove the funding for State Road 7. A no vote means no, do not remove the funding for the State Road 7 projects, allow them to remain in the document.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification.
And then for the members in the room, just a reminder to click on, and when it's red, it's live. Joseph Anderson is absent. Mary Lou Berger,
No.
Joni Brickman. No. Bob Flores. Joel Flores.
That's a no.
Stephen Gray.
Yes.
Jim Koretsky.
No.
Shirley Lanier. I just want to confirm that the council members did not join during the meeting. Okay, Maria Moreno.
No.
Melissa McKinley.
No.
Michael Caprione.
No.
Corey Neary.
Yes.
Joseph Paduzzi.
Yes.
Kelly Petrolier.
Yes.
I'm sorry to confirm, was that a yes?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was getting feedback. Fred Pinto.
No.
Scott Singer.
No.
Andy Thompson,
No.
Pam Shirolo,
No.
Kyle Ballcher,
No.
Robert Weinroth,
No.
Greg Weiss,
Yes.
Steve Wilson.
No.
I just need a copy. I get 14 to 5, the motion fails.
The motion fails, 14 noes, 5 yea. Okay, so now we will move on to the actual motion, which is the adoption of the resolution approving fiscal year 21-25 TIP. Do we need any more discussion?
I did have that Commissioner Weiss and Mayor Shirolo had their hands raised for that.
Okay, then Pam, why don't you go ahead?
Sure, I just wanted to say thank you for including these projects that are included for the city of Lake Worth Beach. I wanted to thank the TPA and also FDOT for working so closely with us. And I'm looking forward to seeing these projects happen in our beautiful city. Thank you very much, and Nick, for all your help too.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss?
Yep, my question is on the project for US 1 in West Palm Beach from Albemarle to Okeechobee. My understanding was I thought FDOT was not approving that project.
Madam Chair, if I can give the TPA board a
Please.
verbal update. I did circulate an email that we had received, a letter that we received via email from the DOT District Secretary rescinding their approval of constructing that project, the US 1 project, as a lane repurposing project to take the road from 4 lanes to 3 lanes. They have decided that there was too much congestion created and too much diversion created by the predicted to be created by the lane repurposing project, and they have committed to only working with the city to introduce some walkability elements to the corridor while allowing it to remain as a 4-lane road. They have also verbally represented to us that the construction funding will be deferred from fiscal year 21 to fiscal year 22. We understand the document before you this morning for adoption includes construction funding for fiscal year 21. They have said it was too late to amend that document at this point in time, but they have verbally indicated to us that they do not intend to proceed with construction in fiscal year 21, and that next year's proposed TIP will include construction funding for the project as a 4-lane road in fiscal year 22, if the city is amenable to working with the department on the design details of a 4-lane road. If the city says, we only want a 3-lane road or no project at all, then the department will say, then you need to begin the process as a new project. We want to start from scratch looking at the potential impacts of a conversion from 4-lane to 3-lane in greater detail. You can come back and try again.
So my question then is, if there's funding in for next year in the budget for this, wouldn't that then free up those funds for another project like Atlantic Avenue that's being delayed?
Keep going, Nick.
Sure. I think that we are certainly aggressively working with the department on the potential use of those funds if they do indeed materialize. Now, the other point that we didn't make as clearly as maybe we should have is when we wrote in the description of the TIP that it is based on revenue projections developed in cooperation with the department and the TPA. Those are pre-COVID-19 travel pattern revenue projections. So some of the money that we have anticipated to have available to us, we recognize because people have been driving a lot less and buying a lot less gasoline, we will have a lot less money available to do projects. So again, to the extent that the money is actually available in fiscal year 21 to accelerate other TPA priority projects on state roads like the widening of Atlantic Avenue in southwestern Palm Beach County, we will aggressively work with the department to use it for that adopted priority of the TPA. But if the gas tax revenues don't materialize and we don't actually have that money, then we can't repurpose it for other projects.
All right, thank you.
Melissa McKinley.
Just a thank you to staff, which I don't do enough. I want to thank you for the Loxahatchee Groves projects that are included in here, as well as page 31 on table 4. the second, third, and fourth projects.
Thank you. Anyone else? I do not.
Okay.
Melissa, oh, I'm sorry, did I cut you off? There's a delay.
Yeah, I did. That's okay. I just, and the final thank you I wanted to say was on project 4417571, the US 27 connector from US 27 to State Road 715. You accelerated the study project on that one by a year, and just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. And from the City of Palm Beach Gardens, our staff did a really good job of going through it and are excited about all the projects that have been included. We look forward to moving forward. So on that note, I don't see any other hands, so this is also a roll call vote, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay, so let's have a roll call. And what we are saying is if you vote yay, you are approving the tip, and if you vote nay, you are not approving the tip. Okay, thank you.
Joseph Anderson's not here. Commissioner, I'm sorry, my staff is unmuting everyone, but if it prompts you on your end, you will need to accept the unmute. Commissioner Bridger,
Yes.
Joni Brinkman, Joel Flores,
Yes.
Stephen Graham,
Yes.
Jim Koretsky,
Yes.
and to my knowledge, Shirley Lanier is still absent. Maria Marino,
Yes.
Melissa McKinley,
Yes.
Michael Napoleon,
Yes.
Corey Neary,
Nay.
Joseph Paduzzi,
Nay.
Shelley Petrolia,
Yes.
Fred Pinto,
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
Andy Thompson,
Yes.
Pam Chiola,
Yes.
Tom Valashay,
Yes.
Robert Weinrock,
Yes.
Greg Weiss,
No.
Steve Wilson.
Yes.
It passes, Madam Chair, with 3 opposed.
Thank you very much. Okay, we are on to administrative and information items, and I don't see anybody here from any of our partner agencies. Do we have anyone on the phone from our partner agencies that would like to chat?
I don't see any hands raised, Madam Chair.
Okay, so administrative items, these are provided as information only to the board. There's no staff presentation of these items. Do we have any public comment?
No, Madam Chair.
Would any board member like additional information regarding the administrative items that are on this report? And if not, I will jump to our next meeting, which will be July 16th. At this time, the TPA intends to conduct our advisory committee and board meetings in person. As you all know, having meetings in this manner expire at the end of this month. We don't know what that will bring, so we are planning to be prepared for either way. And at this time, I thank you for your patience with us conducting this virtual board meeting. And coming up at 10 o'clock will be the Florida Statutes, Chapter 164, City of West Palm versus TPA. We will all have to sign off of this meeting and sign back onto that meeting. So may I have a motion to adjourn, please? Thank you very much.
Oh. Sign on for this.